70% of the lottery winners go broke. Why is that? Let's look at the 5 books that will be fundamental for you to become successful financially. First one, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a classic book. So he explains it's never about how much money you make. It's always about how much you can retain. If you earn 100k or 200k or even 50k and you manage to retain 30% of it or 20% of it, that's going to be fantastic for you to invest this money. So let's take an example. You have a lawyer making 300k a year. He's a very successful lawyer. However, he's got a lot of expenses. He's got his mortgage. He has his loan on his cars or his lease. On top of that, he goes to very expensive restaurants in order to impress his colleague and also the girls he's dating, and so on. So what's going to happen to that person? He's earning 300k a year, but he's spending 210k a year. He's going to be eventually in debt, even though he's earning a very high salary. Similarly, you have a blue collar. He makes 80k a year, but he managed to save 20 or 30k a year. It's very likely that this person's net worth is going to be higher in 10 years than the lawyer. So it's never about how much you make, it's about how much you can retain. In the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, the author also makes the case that the poor people and the middle class people work for the money, but the rich people have the money work for them. What does it mean? It means that the rich people have assets. These assets will generate interest on a regular basis. They are going to gain in capital on a regular basis. When on the other side, the poor are going to have liabilities. For example, an expensive car that will just go down in value and not generate any interest. So the purpose of having assets is that the asset is going to gain in value with time, but also generate some type of interest. So that can be dividend, for example, or if you have real estate, that can be rents. Just make sure that when you have available money, you invest it in assets, not in liabilities. It's very good to impress other people, but it's not going to make you rich. Also, the most important asset that you can invest in is yourself. So make sure that you train on a regular basis to learn about how the money works and gain as much knowledge as possible. Another quote I like from the book is that failures inspires winners. Failures defeat losers. Second book, Think and Grow Rich. That's a fantastic book as well, and that's a classic. In this book, the author makes the case that it's all about desire. This desire is the starting point. If you do not have the desire to become rich, if you do not want really and genuinely to have a lot of money, you will not be able to make the money. And that's very simple, because as soon as you have the desire, that's going to send a message to your brain, and your brain is going to try to find solutions to become rich. Every day you're going to wake up and you're going to have that in the back of your mind. How can I become rich? You're going to go to sleep, same thing. How can I become rich? And throughout the day, you're going to be thinking about ways of becoming rich. I'm not saying that it's going to be a very easy journey or a very short journey, but eventually, if you're obsessed, you have the desire to become rich, you will eventually become rich. Another part is the power of autosuggestion. It's basically the ability of your thoughts to impact on your behavior and your mental state. If you have consistent autosuggestion telling you that you have to do the right thing all the time, you have to be disciplined, you have to read your book, you're going to be very driven in the way you're going to achieve in life. It's all about what you think and how this translates in your behavior. Always be stubborn, especially when you know that you're on the right track. You have to be consistent and push yourself. Being stubborn is the right thing to do, especially when you know that you're doing the right things. For example, you're at the gym. It's been one day at the gym. You don't see any result. It's been 1 week at the gym. You don't see any result. It's been 1 month at the gym. You don't see any result. But if you continue and you persevere, you become very stubborn. In 1 year, you're going to see the result. In 2 years, you're going to see amazing results. You have to continue to persevere all the time. And lastly, you have to join a group of like-minded people. If you can join a master group, that's going to be fantastic. Because we always say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure you surround yourself with the right type of people. People that have the same type of ambition, and the people that are in the same successful journey. So the next book is The Richest Man in Babylon. So let's see the 7 lessons from the book. And the first of the lesson is make sure you save money. Save money, it means that you have to have a difference between how much you earn and how much you spend. Track your finance. Have an Excel spreadsheet when you track your expenses. Because if you do not, you're going to spend money on everything. The second lesson is not to spend more than you earn. But it's very similar. So if you spend 200 and you earn 150, obviously you're going to end up in debt. Make sure that what you spend is less than what you earn. Thirdly, invest wisely. You have to understand the psychology of money. You have to understand how money works. And for that, you have to read books. You have to listen to podcasts. People that have already been successful. People that can inspire you to become rich. In my opinion, there are ways to become rich that are easier than others. For example, if you want to invest in real estate, it's much easier than investing in something that you don't know, for example, Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrencies. Secondly, if you want to invest, you can invest also in the stock market. Obviously, learn about it. If you're not an expert, maybe you can invest in a type of fund or in an index, for example. But be careful that you read about it and you know about it before investing your money in it. Fourth, when an opportunity is too good, stay away from it. It's very critical. I've learned it at my expense as well. I remember like a few years ago, I invested some of my money in something that's called Football Index. It's basically a stock market exchange of football players. And this opportunity was amazing and it was too good. So I invested some money. And fortunately, I managed to pull out my money, all of my money before this thing crashed. But a lot of people got caught. So when an opportunity is way too good, you're getting so much return, you double your money every single year, or triple your money every single year, that's maybe too good to be true. Be careful that you're not attracted only to the lucrative side of the investment. Understand it, and if you're the only one investing in this, then you have to ask yourself questions. Fifth, own your home. I know this is a controversial one. Some people think owning your home is a bad investment. It's basically putting your money in a liability. And this I do not agree with. Why? Because paying for your rent is a liability already. So the question is not like whether you're going to buy a liability. The question is like, can you alleviate your liability, which is your rent at the moment, and invest this liability in a different one? Instead of paying 2K, for example, in a rent, you might pay 2K in a mortgage. And some of it is going to stay in capital with you. At the same time, your mortgage and your property is going to gain in value. So this is a way to multiply your money. So I'm not saying this is good for everyone. You have to understand it. Secondly, you have to do the mathematics to see if it makes sense to you. And then if that's the case, then you can invest. But always, it's like for every single investment, have a spreadsheet. Do the math. Calculate. And if it makes sense, you can invest. The sixth lesson of The Rich Man in Babylon is that you have to protect your future income. So for example, you have to have a life insurance. Especially if you want to protect the people from your family, you need to make sure that, for example, your mortgage is covered in case you pass away or you have an accident and you can't work anymore. So that's an aspect of the book that is very interesting, that is different than most of the other books. And the last aspect is about becoming wiser and more knowledgeable. As you become wiser and more knowledgeable, you will be able to invest more wisely. You will be able to invest more efficiently as well. And you will be able to stay away from most of the scam opportunities. So another book that changed my perspective is Millionaire Next Door. It basically speaks about the lives of the Americans that are in between 1 and 5 million net worth. You would think that most of these people are white collar, very rich and in very expensive jobs. However, that's not the case. A lot of these millionaires that are in between 1 million, 5 million are not the ones that earn the most. They are not always the ones that make the most money a year. However, they always save money from the get-go. So one of the lessons about the book is that you have to start saving as soon as possible. Save money. You're making 20K a year? Save money. 30K a year? Save money. 100K a year? Save money. 500K a year? Save money. Whatever your income, you have to be able to save money. And if you think about the book, a lot of the people in the book that are millionaire, so they have a net worth of 1 or 2 or 3 million, these people, they were earning 30 or 40K, but they were spending maybe only 20. So when you're on 40K and you're spending only half of it, 20K, you manage to save maybe 20K or even maybe 10K a year, then this 10K can be invested. And when you think about it, 10K a year saved, multiplied by 10 years, how much is that? 100K. Multiplied by 40 years is 400K. And this 400K with interest and compounded interest is likely to make you over $1 million in 5, 10, or 20 years. One other aspect of the book is that they suggest a formula to calculate whether your net worth, your current net worth, is in line with your age and income. Multiply your age by your pre-tax income and you divide by 10. Are you in line? Are you in line with your age and your income? Take a piece of paper and do it quickly. Check now. Are you in line? If you are not in line, you have to start saving. You have to start making a plan, a budget, so you know exactly how much money you make and how much money goes out. And the fifth book is Millionaire Fast Lane from MJ DeMarco. It's a fantastic book as well. This book describes 3 things that are important for wealth. First one is meaningful relationship with your family and friends. Second one is being fit and healthy. And the third one is freedom. And the freedom is the only aspect where money comes in. Because at the end of the day, the money is not an end on its own. We don't work just for money. We work for money because money will allow us to be more free, to have the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want it. In the book, it describes that your income should be independent of your time. You have to start thinking as a producer and not as a consumer. What does it mean? It means that your time is very precious. It's the most precious commodity. You have to make money when you sleep. If you don't make money when you sleep, you're not going to be rich. As simple as that. So you have to make the money independently of your time. How does it work? You have to invest in something for a specific period of time. For example, writing a book. It might take you maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. However, once you have allocated this time, your income is independent. The books are going to be sold for years and years and years to come. So that's one way to have something that is not correlated with your time. Another one is, for example, recording music. So you have royalties being paid on a regular basis, even when you sleep, because the music is being played all over the world constantly. That's a way to have independence between your time and your income, and so on. So I let you figure out different ways. Another aspect that is very important is to think as a producer and not as a consumer. For example, when you're on social media, what do? Do you keep scrolling? Do you keep watching people's lives? Or you're producing some content? You're helping people. If you don't, then you think as a consumer. Otherwise, it's great, you're already in the producer camp. So if you want to be a millionaire, as described in the book, you have to be on the fast lane. You have to have income all the time that is not correlated with your time. And that's called the fast lane. Otherwise, the slow lane in the book is described as a 9-to-5 job. And when you have 40 years in the job, you can maybe become rich. But obviously, you're already 60, 65, 70, and it's way too late to enjoy your money. So you have the choice between the fast lane and the slow lane. It's up to you. And if you want to know more about finance, investment, or the life of someone meaningful, I recommend the book Principles. It's a great book and it will give you additional insight in the way an entrepreneur works and the way an entrepreneur will think as well and develop a successful business. It's a great book by Ray Dalio. In the book, he will highlight that reality, dreams, and determination will be equal to a successful life. So I'll let you read it. So in conclusion, you will give 1 million to a poor person, they will become broke in 5 years. You will give 1 million to a rich person, in 5 years, they're gonna have 10 million. So it's not about necessarily where you are today, but it's about the mindset that you develop. The mindset to become rich. And you have to develop the mindset, you have to be knowledgeable and learn every day. You have to learn how money works, how to retain it. You have to learn how to reduce as much as possible the taxes from the government. You have to learn how to multiply it as well and how to invest it long term. That's important. At the end of the day, we can keep talking and talking about making money, but you have to make the decision to do it. If you're determined to be successful, do it now. You have to invest your time now to become successful. And a lot of people do not want to take risk. They don't want to take any risk in life, especially when it comes to risk with their money. But the biggest risk is what we call the cost opportunity risk, which is basically missing on great opportunities, having an exciting and successful life. Especially when you have the ability, you make decent money, you have the ability to become successful and rich. Do it, but take risk. It's important to take risk. And obviously, the younger you are, the more risk you can take. At the end of the day, if you can't manage a small budget, you won't be able to manage a big budget. So become knowledgeable and work on yourself. Start saving from now on and start investing wisely your money. If you don't make that much money, for example, 20, 30 or 40K a year, you have to learn a useful skill that will make you 100K a year, 200K a year. That's the best way to go to the next level. And at that point, you can save money. But to be honest, it's very hard to save money when you don't have much. So develop a skill that will bring you additional income. And lastly, to become rich, you have to surround yourself with the right type of people. If you haven't watched it, I recommend to watch how to surround yourself with the right type of people to become rich. Watch it.